A couple people recently had asked me about how to submit a book for BookBub, and our dear friend Denise has allowed me to go into her account so we can show you live how to submit a book for BookBub. So I'm going to share my screen and show you guys that so that you have access there. All right. So first off, to get here, you have to have a BookBub account. How do you get a BookBub account as an author? You go to bookbub.com/partners. This is how you get an account. And when you do this, you can sign up. All you have to do is have an email address, and you have to have a live book online on a retail site, because you do have to say, this is me and this is my book, and you have to link to one of your books as proof. Now, once you do that, you go to your dashboard. And of course, let's keep in mind that when we are submitting for a BookBub deal, BookBub is a very large, well-known discount book opportunity where they will mail out to a large mailing list with a discount. Let's also keep in mind that when you pitch for BookBub, very rarely do they say yes on the first try. Usually I see a yes more close to like the third try, but also other things do matter. Are you in a really competitive genre? For example, if you are in romance or mystery or something like that, there's a lot of books in your genre. It may be hard to get. Whereas if you have business nonfiction, you may have more of an edge because not as many books are in your genre. So it does just depend. Also, BookBub is looking at your Amazon sales pages as well as your other sales pages. They're looking to see if you have reviews. Are the reviews overall positive? They're also looking at your rankings. Are people currently interested in your books? They want books that are selling, but not already out of the park. If you're in the top 20,000 on Amazon ranking of all Kindle books, chances are they're thinking that people already know about your book and they may not get as much new interest. Like, they don't want to send people a book they're already reading, but they also want to make sure you're not in the millions with absolutely no interest. So that is something that we need to consider when submitting for BookBub is, how's your book looking? Do you have reviews? Oftentimes there's this theory that you have to have at least 50 reviews on Amazon to get a deal. I will say I have gotten several BookBub deals with less than 50 reviews. However, it really helps to have more reviews, and I never submit for a BookBub typically unless you have at least 25 reviews. It just doesn't move the needle, unfortunately. So I think having that social proof is important. Now, keep in mind, to get a BookBub profile as an author is free. There is no cost to this. Submitting for a BookBub deal is free. If you are chosen and they send you an email and say, congratulations, your book was chosen for a BookBub deal, this is the cost. You have the option to then accept or not. And if you accept, you then do have to pay a fee. So you can run ads through BookBub, which can work if you're running your own discount, but I don't typically recommend, especially if you have a book that is not priced at $2.99 or lower. I don't recommend BookBub ads, and the reason being is that people on BookBub have been conditioned to buy cheap books. And if your book is $5.99, $6.99, $9.99, that's not your audience. They want discount books. And also BookBub ads work well in little spurts, but people on BookBub typically are not seeing the same book over and over again. And if they do, they kind of ignore it, because BookBub trains people to look for discount books and constantly changing books. So I personally have never seen success with ads that run for the long term. Rather, they do well if you do them in short spurts, maybe to kind of lift up your own discount deal if you're not chosen for a featured deal, something like that. Now, on to actually how to submit a feature deal. So when you submit a feature deal, first you're going to submit a feature deal, and then you have to search for a book, and you can search for any of your books. So for instance, I know Denise has a book called Piece of Music. Oh, and look right here, we found it. piece of music. So we can choose that book. And eventually my internet and all things will accept that this is the book that I want, I would like to feature. All right. And so what it does is it pulls up the information for the book. And then it says, okay, tell us what category you'd like to submit this in. And they have action and adventure, advice and how-to, American historical romance, biographies and memoirs, Black stories and experiences, formerly African-American interest. That's a newer category, by the way. Business, chick lit, children's, Christian fiction, Christian nonfiction, contemporary romance, cooking. I mean, they've really got quite a few kind of niche or separate genres that you can apply through, which is great. Middle grade, they also have young adult. So they have something for everything: parenting, politics, psychological thrillers, so on and so forth. Now, you only get to pick one when you submit. And I will say, pick the one that you think is going to work best, but also keep in mind that when you are submitting, submit for what you think will work best, but whoever is going to review your application, they also look at your book, and sometimes they'll come back and say, hey, you weren't approved for true crime. However, we would be interested in running your book in mysteries or something like that. So sometimes they will offer you a different category if they think it's a better fit. So just do your best. Don't stress too much about this. I know that this one has, you know, some stories. It's got a little bit of romance. It's certainly got music, but I'm going to go down and I'm going to try women's fiction for this one. So you choose your category, and then as we go down to regions, you can choose either all regions, or you can choose for specific regions. You can go United States only or international. I typically submit for all regions. The only time I do not is if the book in particular is of more interest to a certain country. So for example, I have a client who has United States American history fiction books. They're all based around the Civil War. And I will say that he's got lots of sales, lots of page reads on Kindle, but almost all of them come from the United States. Even when we've advertised internationally, it's just not as much interest. Being as US history, it tends to be more read in the United States. So for him, I would not do all, because I don't think he would ever profit or really get an audience internationally. I would stick to United States only, keeping in mind that you pay per the region. So it does make it a little bit less expensive than if you go internationally. But for this book, I think that there is appeal widespread, especially because these books are kind of international. Now you have to put the original price in. And I'm just going to go right over to Amazon. And I'm going to pop in piece of music, Denise Kahn. There we go. And here we go. And I can see that we can buy it for $2.99. So I'm going to say, there we go. I'm going to just type in $2.99 is my regular price. And then because Denise's book is on Kindle Unlimited, we can run a free discount deal. So that's what I'm going to submit for, is the deal price is going to be free. All right, so we've got it free and it automatically populates all regions. So I don't really have to do anything unless something is different. All right. Okay, and so there is a check mark for this book is permanently free. If you have a perma-free book, you would want to select that, but that's not the case with this book. And then the deal availability. So this book is available on Amazon, and they know that because they've already found the Amazon link. But they're also saying, is the book available from Barnes & Noble, Apple, etc., etc.? The answer is no, because this book is on Kindle Unlimited, which means it's exclusive for Amazon. However, if it weren't, if the book was available from Barnes & Noble and Apple, I would need to go find the retailer URL, the sales page for each of these retailers, and put them right in. Now, I will say that There is speculation that you're more likely to get a deal if your book is wide versus on Kindle Unlimited because it serves more markets. And Amazon, or not Amazon, BookBub has quite a large market available for international sales. And so that's just one thing to kind of keep in mind, is that if you are wide, you may have a better shot. If your distribution is wide and not Kindle exclusive, you may have a better shot at a BookBub deal. All right, then the next thing they're going to ask is your date flexible? Do you have a specific date that you have to, do this for, or is your date flexible? Typically, we're going to say, yes, our date is flexible. We've got more chance of being chosen that way. Typically, the people who are not flexible, those people are typically going to be big publishing houses who are like running a specific deal, and they have more leverage because they have more titles and things like that. But typically we would say, yes, our date is flexible. Then you have comments. So you have the opportunity, if you'd like, to add something additional, such as, excuse me, and I'm just making this up, by the way. Ooh, look, I'm just making my whole thing go all over. This book is an international bestseller and fan favorite with over 1,000 reviews, or I think I said 10,000. You can put whatever you want. I just exaggerated because that's the first thing that came to my mind, but you can put whatever you want, or you can leave it blank. You can just let the book speak for itself. If you do put something in the comment, keep it short and snappy. Have you won awards? Is the book trending in some way? For example, if it was something that was like, this current topic is trending because, and the book's a great tie-in, so I think it'll really appeal to your audience and get a lot of sales, that kind of thing. So whatever you say, or leave it blank, completely up to you. Then you hit the submit button. And once you hit the submit button, what happens is it goes into submission. It does get reviewed by BookBub. You will get an email saying your submission has been accepted, or has been accepted, and we'll review it and get back to you. Then anywhere between 2 days and a week, it can take longer sometimes, they will get back to you with an answer, either an offer or getting back and saying your book was not accepted at this time. It really does just depend. Now, keep in mind, sometimes what they do offer you is not what you actually applied for. For example, they could come back and say, we're happy to put this book in an international BookBub, but it was not approved for US BookBub, so they're going to put it that way. Of course, the price changes because you're only marketing to part of their list and not the full list. They may come back and say, hey, we would love to promote this book, but not women's fiction. We want to put it in literary fiction or romance. It just completely depends. Or they may come back and say your book was not chosen at this time. And if that is the case, you can reapply in 30 days, but you have to wait at least 30 days from the date that your book is denied or not featured before you can do that. So that is the basics of how to apply for a BookBub. What I personally do is I apply for a BookBub. If I get it, I build other promotions around that BookBub date. I use Fussy Librarian, Bargain Booksy, Book Cave, different options like that. And I set up either on the same day as BookBub or in the same week as BookBub to set that up and make sure that I'm really getting as much as I can out of that one big promo to lift up, maybe hit bestseller lists, that kind of thing. And I think we've got a couple of questions, so I just want to make sure. So is BookBub worth it? Yes, I think so, because again, it's free. And if you get a BookBub, you have such a huge reach. I have seen authors get anywhere, depending on what kind of deal it is, I've seen authors get anywhere from 700 to 3,000 sales in the course of a BookBub deal, just from being promoted out that way. And if you have a series, almost always the whole series gets more sales, and I've seen that many times. So I think it's worth it. It does certainly depend on you and can you afford it, but I think it's worth it. And to at least submit and see if you're approved, That part's free. To have an author profile is free. So you can build out your whole author profile. Now, we had a question about when you can do this, and the answer is you cannot gain any author profile, and this is for most places. This is for Author Central, for BookBub, until your book is up for sale on a retail site. So if your book's up for pre-order on Amazon, you can claim an author profile on BookBub. If your book is not up yet, you cannot claim an author profile because you must be able to link to a retail site to prove that you are an author and you have a book. After your book is up, then you can go ahead and go for it. Let me see. Whoops. I gotta click on the right thing here. Let's see. Yeah, so Wendy's asking about BookBub ads, and she said, if I have BookBub ads running, will it work for a $6.99 ebook, or should I save my money? My personal opinion, Wendy, is I would not run ads for a $6.99 ebook. Keeping in mind, most people on BookBub are conditioned to buy books that are $2.99 or lower. $6.99 is very high for BookBub. Now, of course, if you're running ads, I'd look and see if you have any direct correlation to sales. But if not, I wouldn't personally be running ads for a $6.99 ebook on BookBub. Let's see. And Randy's asking, if you run a free deal on BookBub, do you have to update your pricing on all the individual platforms? You have to update your pricing anywhere that you are saying the book will be promoted. So if you're saying it's available from Amazon and Barnes & Noble and everywhere else, you do have to make it free on all of those platforms. And I will say that you'll kind of get a nasty gram if you don't discount it on one spot. You'll say, we were unable to send out the link for Apple because it wasn't discounted as agreed upon or something like that. And they don't like that. They will ding you next time when you apply again. And I will say that the free deal is easiest to do if you have a Kindle Unlimited book, because if your book is on Kindle Unlimited, you get 5 free days to put the book set as free, 5 free days every 90-day contract. So that's typically when I do a free deal. If your book is wide and it's available on Barnes & Noble and Barnes & Noble and iBooks and Kobo, I typically do a 99-cent deal, not a free deal, or even $1.99, depending on what your original price is. And then for me, most of my clients are set up on both KDP and Draft to Digital. So it's a matter of simply dropping that price down on KDP when I'm ready for it to go down. Typically, I put the price down a day or two before a deal. So like I actually have a BookBub deal for a client on the 15th of June, but I will discount that book either the 14th or the 13th, just to ensure that it's down in plenty of time before a BookBub deal. I don't want to miss out, because if your book's not discounted, they simply don't send it. They're like, hey, you didn't do your job. Now for Draft to Digital, who has Kobo and Barnes & Noble and all of those other places, there's something called a book promotion, where you can schedule a promotion in advance where you tell them the price that you want to discount to and the date you want to set it for. So I did that like 3 weeks ago. That's already set up. It's already going to discount from the 14th until I think it was the 21st I did it for. So I don't have to worry about that. You cannot pre-schedule a discount, a 99-cent or something like that on KDP. You have to go in and manually do it. So a couple nuances just depending on what your book distribution is and what your deal is. But for the most part, there's a lot of pre-planning that can be done. Yeah, for sure, Randy, we can talk about that. And always I say, you guys, it is so easy to create this profile and simply pitch your book. Pitch it out and see what they say. I typically say start with your first book, your first in series or most recent launch, and put it out there and see what happens. You can reapply every 30 days. If you get a BookBub deal and you're not sure if it's really right for your book or what to do once you get a BookBub deal, you can always just let me know, and I'm happy to give you some steps that you can do to kind of amplify that. And yes, Scott, BookBub is only for ebooks. BookBub is there are like, you can do book reviews and things on BookBub. You can follow authors on BookBub, but it is for ebooks. It's a discount ebook platform. And we've talked about Chirp before, by the way, and BookBub owns Chirp audiobooks. So if you are looking to submit for a Chirp deal, you'll see where it says Chirp audiobook deals. That's where you submit there. So it all goes through the same account. Yes, so Teresa's asking, the estimated cost at the bottom of the page was $700. Is that real? Good catch. I meant to stop and talk about that, and I just got too excited. Yes, that is real. The estimated cost, if it's approved for both the US and international, is $700. That is correct. But BookBub deals typically are not inexpensive. If you were running in a more popular genre, let's say mysteries, and your book was set at 99 cents or $1.99, you'd actually be paying closer to $1,200. Now, most cases, again, you're selling so many books that you are going to earn that out. And also the overall exposure that results in reviews, which sets your book up with more social proof for more sales in the future, tends to work well, especially if you have more than one book. If this is a lead into a series and you're giving one book away free, and then you are getting readers over to the rest of the series, you make your money back. I have a client who has a, I think it's a 7-book series right now. And we've worked together for several years. It's a very popular series. And she has done a BookBub deal, both US and international, where she gave the first book away for free. But her books are all on Kindle Unlimited. So she gave the first book away for free. She had 40,000 downloads for the free book. And then, of course, if you have Kindle Unlimited, it automatically pushes you to download on Kindle Unlimited rather than to take the free book. So 40,000 downloads of the free book, plus so many downloads of the Kindle Unlimited book. So then she's getting paid for those page reads. Then she's a great author. So most of those readers went on to read the other 6 books in her series, and she hit over 1 million page reads in one single month. And that lift stayed high for quite a long time. It was at least 6 months that we saw a major high of Kindle page reads, and of course revenue for her based on that one deal. So again, you've got to know your goals. You've got to know how or if you can have a chance of earning back that income. But $700 is not cheap. Can you earn it back, and will it help you meet your goals? More reviews, more readers, read through of your series, that kind of thing. It really depends on you, but it's for real. Yeah, over 1 million page reads in one single month. It was amazing. Let's see. And Caroline's saying, I have a Chirp deal running right now and selling lots of audiobooks. I'm also seeing uptick in Kindle and print for the title. Several purchases are libraries. Yes, because librarians are readers, and librarians very often are on lists like BookBub and Chirp, because that is an easy way for them to find new books and vet them and then decide if they would like them or not. So series are definitely, there is something to series that makes books easier to market. Now, if you are an author with many books in the same genre, you can also market kind of like a series, but the series have just special marketing opportunities that are pretty amazing. Let me see. And Wendy's saying, so if I drop my price to $2.99, then I would have to change it on Amazon and Draft to Digital to be the same price everywhere. It seems that when I ran ads before, I was getting more sales, but I don't know that I made more to justify the cost. Yep. So you may have seen some more sales, but again, was it justifying the cost for BookBub ads? You would have to look. I mean, it's certainly dependent on each book, but I will say, Wendy, that BookBub has even put out results on ads, like internal data information, and they say that books that were at $2.99, like they didn't even report on books over $2.99 because the clicks and the interest and the sales were so minimal. But books like are $2.99 do receive clicks. You get more clicks at $1.99, 99 cents in free, and that is kind of what they even suggest with their own internal data. Of course, you can sell books, but does it justify the cost, and is it really helping you towards your goals? All right, I think that's all we had on BookBub, and thank you, Denise, for letting us use you as our example. Always appreciate that. So can you do ebook and chirp at the same time? You sure can. You can submit for a chirp audiobook deal. Keep in mind that chirp really does favor anyone who is wide. You kind of need your ebook or your audiobook available through Findaway Voices or through Author Republic in order to get a chirp audiobook deal, because it is dependent on you going wide. If you're Audible exclusive and you are not well known or something like that, it's not very likely that you're going to get anything there. One more question. Does BookBub actually read your book before establishing the category or category change? No, they don't. As professionals in the publishing and book marketing industry, we actually are trained to read your description, to read reviews, to look at your book cover, to help decide what audience is most likely to buy your book and what your book is based on the marketing you've made available. So no, they don't actually read your book. May they actually do like the look inside feature on Amazon and read a couple of pages? Maybe, but they are not actually reading your book before they establish a different category or approve your book.